Welcome back to Captains of Industry. Still with me in studio, Abey Mokgwatsane. He's the CEO of Ogilvie SA. Talking about talent incubation, this is something that you really focused on at Ogilvie SA.
Absolutely. So we've got a program that we're running with Gibbs that is about making sure that we become the most client-centric agency in the world. We are working with that institution to help us understand how to get the best out of our clients and how to get the best out of our own system. And a fundamental part of that is how do we keep and retain the best talent in the industry to be able to do that? Because most of these relationships work when the relationship is good. Most of the great work that comes out of branding works when you have a really sustainable relationship with a client. From a graduate perspective, we've just launched the Ogilvy graduate program, which is quite interesting. It's very different to other graduate programs. We haven't just asked people for their CV. We've gone to leading institutions around the country, and we're competing for business science graduates. And we've said to them, build a blog. Do a blog with any interest matter that's interesting to you, and show us how you can drive traffic to that blog, show us how you're able to get people excited about the content that you love. And we've already got over 120 responses. And that just shows that's the future. People being able to communicate what they're interested in a compelling way to other people is something that we're building on. So it's in its first year of iteration. And of course, there's other employee value proposition programs that we're running.
Something that you must battle with is the controversial, sometimes controversial nature of advertising. Is any publicity good publicity in your book?
I think so. And I think even in a controversial situation, that's life. Life happens. You know, you're going to make big mistakes. It's in the way that you respond to those mistakes that makes the difference. And I believe that if you're true to the brand and if you're true to yourself, you can manage yourself out of any one of those crises.
What campaign are you most proud of within the Ogilvie SA fold? Current or historic?
I would say the work that we're doing on KFC is really amazing. I mean, the work that we're doing on KFC, it's our biggest client, is being referenced around the world as best practice. The creative is really spot on in terms of its ability to connect with everyday South Africans. It's something that we love as South African. Our ability to be able to communicate with those multiple target markets in a seamless way and be true to the KFC brand is something that I'm really excited about. And we're doing all kinds of work on KFC. We are really integrated service, so we do all their social media, we do the digital work, we do their PR work. And being able to see what we do manifest across all those dimensions is something that's very exciting for me.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but you have a partnership with Scan Group across Africa?
Yes.
How is that? Is it a JV? Is that your foray or your exploration of the African continent when it comes to advertising and marketing?
What actually happened with Scan is we have sold our portion of our African network to Scan Group. So they are partners in Africa under the Ogilvy banner.
Do you work closely together?
We work closely with them on some of the accounts that we share. Some of the accounts that we have are Pan-African, so we manage the South African breweries, brands that are going to Africa out of our Johannesburg campus. And obviously that requires very close relationship with Scan. But the global network is a family, so we talk to them all the time. I'm personally connected with Nandu Skora, who is the head of Ogilvy Africa, based in Kenya. The head office is in Kenya.
How do brand requirements differ when you start talking about the African continent versus South Africa? Obviously, you're still part of the same continent, but from a country-to-country perspective, is there a huge difference?
You know, ultimately, I don't think so. I think the way that you might manifest your message is different. But fundamentally, any brand needs to connect with its consumers and build long-term relationships with those particular consumers. So you can be in Tokyo, Japan, you can be in South Africa, you can be in Nairobi, anywhere. That doesn't change. What changes is what tools you use and what mediums you use to engage with them. The biggest thing that's happening across our industry is data. Data is the next big play in our industry. There's more data today than there's ever been. The volume of data doubles every single 24 months. There's more data produced in the past 10 years than there has been in the whole human history that we've been in existence. So it's an amazing ability. But what data does for us is that it allows us to connect with people on a one-to-one basis. There are about 5.8 million cell phone subscriptions in the world, and that's about 80% of the world's population. And even in Africa, people have cell phones. So a brand can connect with someone and engage with someone through their mobile in a way that builds long-term relationships. So there's a lot of learnings that we can extract out of our ability to be able to do that in this continent.
Is it a fair comment to say that advertising is a high burnout industry? Do you have the passion, the energy to keep going?
Yeah, you know, I think that there's this false perception that advertising is about these kind of crazy people that
burn out
work all night and party every single day, and it's not the case. More and more we've had to be a business, but we've had to be an inspired business. So yes, if you want to come and see people doing crazy things and getting really passionate about what they do, come to our industry. But we have to filter that passion into real business results and engage with very formal clients. So yeah, I think it's a balance.
When we look at the formal client band,
Yeah.
who inspires you in the South African corporate arena?
Right now, other than KFC, I'd say that the work that we've done on Carling Black Label, so the SAB system has been really amazing. And I'm not saying this because I used to work there, but I think South African Breweries has a real understanding of how to engage with consumers, and they are trusting us as a partner to be able to get them there. I mean, the Carling Black Label campaign we did registered about 20 million votes via SMS. We had about a million people, a million individuals participating with that promotion. That is an amazing thing to be able to do with such a mainstream
Beyond
brand.
a company, is there a single person you admire in the South African corporate space?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's difficult to call people out, but I think Sydney Mbele is someone I've gone to really trust. He's at Nedbank right now, and he's someone that I think has an inspired view about the future, and his ability to be able to internalize that into what marketing is in an institution like a bank. I think is something that we can all learn from.
Are you an Afro-optimist?
Absolutely. I was born one and I will die one.
Are you not concerned about the underlying environment in South Africa right now? High levels of unemployment. Obviously, we have strikes. We've seen the violence emanating from those situations. Does it concern you?
It does concern me. I think we live in a highly unequal society, which is something that we need to address. We have high levels of poverty. 38% of the South African population lives below 418 Rand a month. I think that the plan that's been put together by the National Planning Commission is something that we can all galvanize and get behind. If anything, I think that our role as a communication industry is to help people understand programs like that, is to help people see the future and get to a better place. And I'm looking forward to our role in being able to do that. So I'm concerned about the fundamentals, but I believe that I have a role to play in being able to help us get to a better place.
You've obviously been through tough economic cycles, and one of the first things we know that companies do, it's not the right thing, but the first thing they do is generally cut back on their marketing budgets when they're hit with tough economic times.
Yeah.
How do you navigate your way through troubled waters?
The only way you navigate your way through that is by showing a client that you're adding value. What we do as an agency has moved away from just being a traditional above-the-line communication agency. We offer mobile, social, digital services, experiential services, in-market trade services. So we've been able to...
So the client can't do without you?
They can't
Good
do
or
without us.
bad,
We
economic
have
environment.
we're trying to be as indispensable as possible, but you can only do that by creating value. We haven't, you know, the economic cycle hasn't hit us yet. We've been growing at least for the past 10 years, year on year, and we continue to strive for that.
If you look at Ogilvy SA 5 years out, where do you want to go? What is your vision for the company?
It's really about three key things. One is we need to get to the future first. So we will be the most digitally integrated business in the country, across social, across mobile, across all digital platforms, across data. We will be the best agency to reference with regards to that. Secondly, we will be an agency that unlocks this conundrum of integrated communications. We have specialist divisions within our business, and we're going to seamlessly integrate them so that client appreciates and receives us and experiences us as one agency. And thirdly, we're going to be an agency that understands people and unlocks people's talent. If we can get to those three things, we will remain the biggest and the best.
With that integrated communication, are costs going to alleviate when it comes to brand campaigns, marketing,
They have
advertising
to.
campaigns?
They have to. I mean, you can't, if a client comes to us and they say, listen, I'm going to give you all my marketing platforms for you to work in, you've got to go back to them with value, not only in terms of costs, but also in terms of efficiency. They are wanting to get rid of having to brief 17 different agencies for one campaign. They need to go to one lead who's able to seamlessly integrate those services, and that's exactly what we're doing.
Abey, thanks very much for your time. That's it for this week's edition of Captains of Industry. Until next time, from myself, Bronwyn Nielsen, it's goodbye.